Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend Anastasia Washington. She's coming on the podcast today. I want to just, talk about random nerd shit with her like usual. I have stuff I want to bring up about superheroes and stuff, and Anastasia's got a lot of projects. She's been doing a lot of stand-up comedy. She's been hosting panels at conventions. If you haven't seen Anastasia stand-up, go see it. Anastasia is just fucking hilarious, and I love having her on the show and talking with her about that stuff. And speaking of comedy, I'd like to say happy birthday to friend and guest Kathy Ladman. Love you, Kathy. I hope you have a wonderful, special day for yourself. So yeah, here is my new interview with Anna.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, it's been a stressful week so far, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
It's going around.
Yeah, this whole year has been just one big clusterfuck for me, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it seems to be. Well, some of my friends are having a good year. Not me, though.
I thought this was going to be the year of Tommy, but then again, I've said it every year the last 3 years, but this year it was a sure thing. Oh my God. So I had 3 days of nothing but hell back in May. I was supposed to do my own creature features type show pilot with a bunch of friends, right? And I wrote this hilarious script. We were all excited, enthusiastic to do it, and then my comedy friend and mentor pulls out on me, and because he was the producer and everything, I was just so upset. Yeah. And like he was making excuses, like you never told me it was going to be shot on this day and stuff. And then I forwarded him the text messages of him saying, okay, we'll do it that day. And then I never heard back from him again, so I'm never talking to him again. Yeah, that was the first bad thing. Then, I was supposed to move out to LA for 4 months, starting in July. And the girl I was supposed to stay with got in trouble with the law with drugs.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And then my mom gets injured the next day. And
oh, gosh.
Yeah, they say it comes in threes. Celebrity dyings and then, bad karma. They all come in threes.
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, hopefully that's it then. Hopefully that's all.
I hope so. I really hope so. And yesterday I had a huge interview and we were on the wrong time zone, so I didn't get to do it. I have to wait till November now. And then today I had another huge interview and she thought I was calling her, in which I gave her my number like 3 times in like 3 weeks of, scheduling the damn thing. Now I gotta wait for a reschedule on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but hopefully good stuff's happening too.
It's Halloween October on the podcast, so I'm getting good horror interviews this month and stuff. Not as good as last year. Last year was a fluke. I was so lucky with the people I got last year. I'm lucky again this year too, but it's not like 3 or 4 a day like I was getting last year. It was a lot of stress, but it was good stress because I felt so good about it.
Yeah, I get it.
But it's good.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad some good stuff is happening.
Yeah. And I was seeing, on social media for a while that you were going through a lot of stuff too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had a family member that was an addict, die of an overdose, which was, really hard because he didn't, die right away. We were, I was there, almost every day until they took his organs and stuff. And then just, that bubbles up things with family and all that. good stuff, the more family, like I had cut out a few family members and then had to see them all for this situation. So, bummer, but, life. Yeah.
That's terrible. Yeah, my brother moved in back in February, and all he's done is drink 24/7. And fortunately, we had to put him in jail a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, addiction is. There's not much you can do.
Yeah.
Which you can, but it's a hell of a thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, at least there's good stuff going on too.
Yeah.
I've been in a real big superhero phase lately that I haven't. It's been a while since I've been in one, and I've been like seeking out like the old superhero people to do interviews with.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like I've been like I did an interview a couple weeks ago with Nicholas Hammond, who played Spider-Man in the '70s.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, he was cool. We talked for like 70 minutes about his whole career highlights, and he gave me so much info. He was really, really cool.
Oh, that's so cool. That must have been fun.
Mm-hmm. He was a lot of fun, calling all the way from Australia too.
Oh, that's really sweet of him. That must have been a weird time difference.
Yeah, it was. It was Tuesday at 9 o'clock when we were talking on my Monday at 5 o'clock.
It's always interesting talking to people in other countries.
Yeah.
I dated a guy for a number of years, and he was in a different country most of the time, and it was just so hard. We're just like, what time is it there? I'm all like ready to talk. He's going to sleep. He's all ready to talk. I'm going to sleep. Weird.
I know what that is. Like when I was in my late 20s, I was on the dating sites. I met a lot of girls that were out of state and stuff, and it just none of them worked. But I've remained in contact with a couple of them that were pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But have you seen that new Joker movie?
I have indeed.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet. How is it?
I loved it. I thought it was really tastefully done. But I've heard from my other, like some of my friends that they felt the same way, and then some of my friends were completely feeling a completely different way. And I was like, wow, I did not get that from it. But sure. I got positivity, but you got negativity. It's all different. Everyone is different.
I was, it's funny. It's very hard to offend me about anything, but I was emotionally offended when I found out that this movie was coming out, because I just think it's kind of dumb to do a whole movie that focuses on a superhero villain. And I just, the last, decade or so, let alone the last almost 20 years, we've seen all these superhero movies coming out year after year. It just reminds me of how much I want to get a movie made and get all those, Marvel movies out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
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 Marvel and DC, because just they're coming out one after another, year after year,
Yeah, there's some content coming out.
And and they're doing crossovers and spin-offs, and it's driving me crazy. Although I am curious, though, I heard that they've been trying to do a real Howard the Duck, not like the one they did in the '80s, but like a real Howard the Duck, like the comic book.
Oh, okay. I saw that way too young, I think. I remember seeing it and just going, I don't know what exactly I'm watching. I think I saw it in theaters. I don't remember when it came out, but I just remember being like, oh, what is this?
I remember seeing it advertised the summer it came out when I was only 3 years old, and then we got it on VHS in early '87, and I remember my dad was laughing his ass off when he had a condom in his wallet, and I was like, "What's that, Dad?" And he's like, "Don't worry, son. I'll tell you someday."
Well, I just looked it up. It was in 1986 that it came out. So the people that took me there, it was my godparents had me for a night, and I was 3. Yeah, I was 3 years old. They took me to see it in the theater. I was very confused. But it was PG, but I don't know. There was something about it that was not quite, didn't quite feel PG.
I seriously think it should have been PG-13.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's actually, because I was like, it's for sure something higher than PG, but according to the IMDb page, it is PG, which is strange to me. That's okay.
Yeah. I know George Lucas really regrets making that movie.
Well, he should probably regret some other stuff instead. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't want to mention anything like the prequels to Star Wars or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, maybe that, but it's okay. There's some good that came out of them, I'm sure. I mean, there's a whole generation that's their favorite, so I gotta respect that.
Yeah. I found the guy on Facebook who played Doctor Strange in the TV pilot in the late 70s, Peter Hooton, and I reached out to him. I haven't heard back from him yet. He's retired and living in Florida, apparently, and he was on like every TV show in the 70s, from like MASH to like, Medical Center and all these like shows from the 70s. And I hope I get to interview him. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm. I've been watching a lot of the movie version of Supergirl.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't like the TV show version. It's too CGI for me. But I love the movie.
Yeah, I didn't quite get into that.
Yeah, I love the movie though. I've been reading reviews, and like there was a lot of talk when it came out about how sexist it was to have Supergirl and Selena like fight over a guy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but at the same time, I don't know. It was probably like a product of its time a little bit.
Yeah, but
Not that we're doing much different lately.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what else are they going to fight over, And at that time, they certainly weren't going to have a female superhero fight a male villain.
Yeah, which is sad because, that's what you want to see. You want, them fight villains that are like true villains, not like, bathroom girl fights.
Yeah. Last year, I got to interview Maureen Teefy, who played Lucy Lane in the movie, and she told me about how much she just really enjoyed making that movie, and she always, wished that the movie had been better received, and she gives full credit to the William Morris Agency for getting her that, because that's the agency she was with at the time, and so was Hart Bachner. They were both with the William Morris Agency, she said.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I've like Supergirl has been like one of my favorites since I was 3 years old, and I just love how, even as cheesy as it is, I mean, the opening, it took like $1 million to do that opening. But you watch it now, it looks like Roger Corman's studio did that opening.
Technology has come a long way.
Yeah.
It needs to get weirder and better and easier and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. You ever you've seen Kevin Smith's Mallrats?
Yeah, I mean, not in, I don't know, in a very long time, but yes, I do remember. Really good.
Okay, there's that scene where he talks about, Superman and the kryptonite condom.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was thinking the other day, Oh my God. Would it be fun? It would be funny if Supergirl had a vibrator. And I bet that when she turned it on, it would be like turning on a pile driver.
Probably, or hopefully like everything is heightened, so she doesn't need even that like that. Maybe she's just super heightened senses in all aspects of the word. Maybe she's a very lucky girl.
Yeah, I mean, she could have a G-spot orgasm from here to Metropolis, and if she was a squirter, we'd all be fucked because it doesn't normally rain in the summertime.
Luckily, we haven't had to see that. We haven't had to deal with that. We're safe for now.
Yeah. Oh God, I gotta put that in the script. Oh my God.
Put it all in there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Did you read the script that I sent you last year?
Yeah, I think I did, didn't I? I thought did I send back notes? Or
no.
Probably.
No, I didn't hear back from you. But I got some good news, though. Back in April when I was in L.A., I met up with this one guest of mine who's a writer, producer, director, actor. He offered me a role in his movie. He's making a movie.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, he's making a movie about the mafia. I just talked to him recently, and it hasn't been funded yet still, but he does have a go with it. But right now he's working on something else and stuff. But it's a good possibility that my script might get made through him also. It's one of those Hollywood, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of scenarios.
Oh, those are the best scenarios, right?
Oh, the absolute best.
Yeah, scenarios that get things done. I love those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, God, that'd be so awesome if I get that movie made. I mean, I already know who I want to cast in it. Who I want to do music for it. I mean, lots of stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, we always have those dream casts in our head, and it's really nice to see projects getting off the ground.
Yeah. Oh, I have dream casts with like second or third choices if someone says no.
Yeah, I mean, you have to because things change, and like even on the highest levels, we see how much casting changes from day to day until these projects go into production. Like it's crazy. I love following casting. Like following Deadline or Variety or Hollywood Reporter and seeing like this person may be attached, this person's attached, this person's not attached anymore. This person, I love watching it because it just puts things in perspective for me as an actor too, or filmmaker. Like how much, it doesn't matter how much your budget is, there's just like up, down, things that are going this way and that way and this way and that way, and it's just, we're all going through it.
Yeah, God. There's so many flaws in the business that have been going on for decades that just really needs to change now because we're in the 21st century.
Yeah, but I think some things are probably not going to change. Like some things, it'll just be as temperamental as the things are. I mean, I don't know. Like especially with casting stuff, I think that's always going to be a back and forth that we'll see for eternity.
I think that auditions are antiquated. I think people need to just, look at the person's demo reel and make the decision,
And, sometimes you get those moments and it's great, and then sometimes there's something cool about especially chemistry reads or stuff like that, and just and seeing these different roles that you can possibly take on and giving your own take on it. I mean, we wouldn't be able to give our own take on things if they just directly cast us off reels. That would just limit us and be we would only be cast as the things that we've already been cast as. And for people like me, who are always the sassy, quirky, whatever, sometimes I would like to break out of that mold and do something else and try and show that aspect of me, and you wouldn't be able to do that without an audition. for sure, because people like me would have to prove that to you in a room or on a self-tape, you know? I mean, there's pros and cons. Like, I definitely, like, there's some days where I'm like, I really don't want to send you a self-tape. I really don't want to go in. But it's part, you know, it's also, like, if we can possibly look at it in a positive way, there are some really good things about it.
Yeah.
On some days I can see, and some days, you know, not so much.
The great Peter Bogdanovich has never auditioned anybody for any of his movies, and he's had that in his contract since day one.
Really?
Yes, when he was a critic, and he interviewed a lot of great directors, which he's, you know, put in his books that he's written. One of them told him, I think it was Orson Welles maybe, or somebody told him, you know, don't audition people, because the way they are at an audition in terms of you know, reading the lines and giving a good performance can be far different as how they are when they arrive to the set that day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some people that are really good at auditions and that aren't as good and practically on set, and vice versa. And I mean, it's just like testing, right? Like, some people are really good at testing, some people are not really good at testing. It's all, you know, everyone's different, but, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, it's part of the job, and hopefully we're good at both. Hopefully we're blessed with both skills that to take both.
I remember 2007, I was up in Arizona, and I tried to audition for Last Comic Standing. I was in line for 8 hours, and I never got in. And I was like, oh my God, so this is what auditions can be like. Because I had auditioned in high school to be in the school production of the Sound of Music, and it wasn't that long, you know. But this was long, 8 hours, and I met some pretty interesting characters in line, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure that. I mean, that's always interesting, right? Like, the people that you meet in these rooms or in the waiting room, or that's always an interesting roller coaster ride. Sometimes it's great, you know. Like, I always think of like stories like where you hear like Nicole Kidman and oh my God, why can't I think of her name right now? Naomi Watts. That in a waiting room waiting for an audition, and they've been best friends since then, since they were young actors. And I was like, that's great. Like, look at how they like went up together, and I think that's so fun to know. Who knows who you're going to meet there? And then there's some that you're like, I really wish I hadn't met that person there, but, you know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. I cherish the moments when I meet people who are freaks exactly like I am, you know? And
whose baggage matches yours.
Yes. There was this couple. They were white, and they had this friend who was black, and they were getting into a conversation about the smell of semen, and I was like, I wish my mother hadn't been with me, because otherwise I would have just loved to have been a part of this conversation, but I didn't. So I just, you know, pretended like you know, not so much pretended like I was offended, but I was just like, oh my God, this is not the right time or place to be having this conversation. But if my mom wasn't there, I would have loved to have had it, you know.
It's the funny thing is, like, I always feel like, you know, as a writer and as a performer, like, I love, like, listening to people's conversations or being around other people and watching their stuff. And then sometimes I have this urge to, like, just, like, chime in, and I'm like, you can't do that. That's my conversation. You don't know those people. Sometimes I have that. Or sometimes I even have, like, well, more often than not, sometimes I have this, like, urge to be like, that's not actually correct. Like, if they're, like, talking about, like, some kind of fact or something that I know, and I'm like, oh, I really wish I could correct you here, but I can't because I'm not in your conversation.
Oh, I do that when I'm at my my hot tub here at my apartment complex, and there's people talking, especially if it's a 20-year-old millennial who don't know shit, you know?
Oh no, they know everything. Don't you know that?
They know a lot of things about, history, but not like entertainment history. You got to correct them a lot, I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about youth is that you think you know everything, so it's like you're protected. You're protected in your mind, right? Like, yeah, I know everything. I'm an adult and I'm stable and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, gosh, you're so not yet. You're such a baby. You don't even know. There's so much ahead to learn.
Yeah, and it's gotten to the point now where so many of them are like Elvis Who, Marlon Who, I mean, it's just, we're losing, pop culture know-how amongst nerds.
Yeah, I mean, even my age group,
Our age group, of course.
Yeah, our age group, it's, I think there's a lot of people that didn't really, like, even that I like hang out with that don't know the classic movies or have no desire to watch the classic movies that I have watched and have and love. And it's weird because I think, I think that's all about probably how you grew up and your parents and stuff like that, because my mom was such a, like, into so much cinema and, art, and, like, my family was very much into that stuff, that it was important for us to watch the old movies. It was important to listen to all kinds of music, not just one kind of music. And I think that I didn't know that people my age didn't grow up that way until, like, almost like, in the last 5 years. I'm like, oh, you guys didn't watch this? So you guys didn't see this? And they're like, no, that's not from my time period. That's not from my generation. I was, yeah, but it wasn't from mine either. But I grew up watching original Star Trek, or I grew up watching Jaws, or watching, I've seen Gone with the Wind, or I've seen this, like, some people just did not get, I guess, exposed to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. They didn't grow up watching. They didn't grow up watching Out of This World, or Small Wonder.
No, they didn't, which is such a shame, because Small Wonders was so iconic. I mean, there's never going to be anything like that, except for there might be. Marvel seems to be, like, wanting to do, like, a WandaVision, which for some reason, every time I think of WandaVision, I'm like, Small Wonders? I don't know why it just pops into my head every time. It has nothing to do with anything. She's not even a robot. No.
I remember an episode of Small Wonder. You could not get away with this episode today. It was an episode where an Arab prince comes to the house. And when Vicky answers the door, she says, "You must be the camel jockey."
Oh, no.
Yeah.
There's so much that we couldn't get, we couldn't do that we did in the past on camera and stuff like that. And we did not. We should not be able to get away with them.
But even by 1988 standards or whatever it was, I just think to myself, why would they even say that on a family sitcom? That is just terrible.
Yeah, you should never ever say that. But, it was different. There was different standards. And just, like, watching stuff from the past, even now, I remember not even that long ago, like, even The Office, I remember people were all saying, like, we could never even make that right now. We could never make The Office again. They are, we're different now. We've evolved as a society and as creators, and we would not say half of the stuff we said on that show ever again.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah, someone told me about that the other day, about The Office, how it couldn't be made now. And the funny part is, just like All in the Family, another show you couldn't make now, those shows came from England, and we stole them here in America.
Yeah, that's true. Although I think it's so weird, because I'm usually the opposite, but I really think the American version of this is better.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't usually say that, because I usually love the British version of everything better. But with this, there was, like, so much, like, I don't know, it was a much darker show, which I can appreciate. But I think also the way I saw the American first. So I saw this like not lighthearted, but yeah, kind of lighthearted comedy was part, and sometimes went over the line, but, with, just always learning lessons and through humor, and they did really care about each other and stuff like that. Whereas when I went and watched the British one, and I was like, oh no, this is so different. This is, about, there's like sexual harassment, there's like, aggressive tendencies, there's depression, which is not as treated in such a comedic way as it was in the American version, I think. But, I appreciate both of them, but it's so strange because I was like already ready. I was like, I'm going to love this one more. And I was like, nope. Very different.
I haven't even seen a full episode of any of those British versions and stuff. Maybe I should, see if I can find them and stuff, because I am a little curious, but I've only seen clips on, like, the True Hollywood Story and stuff.
Yeah, you should definitely, I always appreciate watching the originals to see what we changed for the better, what we changed for the worse. I just like, how they adapt things. Is just such an interesting process in general. Like, even like how things they think is going to read out here, and it doesn't. Like, like remaking or making Skins, which is a British, show that's been on for so long. They try to make an American version, and it immediately got canceled. They didn't even get a season. You had like Broadchurch, which was an amazing British show. They try to make it and call it like Gross Point or something out here. Even with one of the main actors was the same actor from the British one, and it's still like it was just like bombed right away. So it's just I often want to go like, why didn't this work? Why is this going to work, or why isn't this going to work? And it's always interesting to compare what culturally works in different areas too. Like, it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, I'll definitely check them out, though.
Yeah, you should. It's worth a watch. It's just, it's just very different for at least The Office.
Mm-hmm. So you've been back doing stand-up again.
I have, yeah. I'm back. I have a couple shows for the rest of the year. Not hitting the grind as much as some of my friends are. They're doing like 2 or 3 shows a day. I'm like, oh, how do you have the time or energy? But I do 2 more shows in the rest of the year so far, so that's pretty exciting.
That is so cool. Have you been going up every night?
No, I haven't. I've been really been supported by the Women in Comedy organizations and stuff, where we try out material with ourselves and stuff like that. And it's been really such a great experience to be performing with so many other women and trying stuff on each other and supporting each other. I think it's like the way of the future for at least women in comedy, because we feel so much more supported and so much safer to just like try out things in the manner of like, because it's hard. It's hard as a woman to go to open mics, and especially I can't speak for other towns, but LA it's a hard grind to try out new material for women.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you, out in the Bay Area, oh my God, there are so many women doing open mic comedy that are just, they're not cut out for it because of the hours and stuff, and yet they go do it, and yet, they're having that PC woke attitude that only they can be dirty and the men have to be clean,
I mean, comedy's it's having a time of trying to figure out its political correctness or its lines. And I think we all profit sometimes, and we're all trying to figure out what comedy means now to everyone. But I think comedy in general just means to have a conversation about something, to start conversations about something, to make people laugh about the tough stuff and start even better conversations about them. But there's been a lot of, I feel like people are afraid or just don't even care at all. Like, they don't care enough to be, they're like, well, screw it, I can't win anyway, so I might as well just say whatever the heck I want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like there has to be a happy medium in there. Like we should care about what we say, but we should also, like, you know, if we do cross a line, we should be able to discuss it, and we should not immediately cancel people.
Oh God.
Some people, maybe some people need to be immediately canceled, but the majority of people, I think, can be like it should be a discussion. It can be like some kind of kindness exchange that, you know, maybe we can all learn from it. I feel like that's more like it's really important, because otherwise we're going to be canceling a lot of people in society, and I don't want a society that's so desperately sad from being canceled. I want people that are growing from their mistakes. At least me personally, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But some people just cancel them. Some people just cancel. Like, some people.
Like, I mean, what do you think about Louis C.K.?
You know, he is a tough. He's not a tough one. Like, he always showed us who he was. In my opinion, he didn't want to know. He should, you know, either work through what he's going through and apologize and take some bumps that he kind of deserves for being the typical dick that everybody expects comedians to be.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, yeah, I guess he kind of needs to, you know, be out of the limelight. I mean, it sucks because I wasn't shocked. Right? I wasn't shocked because he literally told us in his TV show, in his stand-up, everything we needed to know about what kind of person he was, what kind of things he asked of women, and we all chose to go laugh at it instead of calling him on it until Me Too. And, I mean, we did that a lot of areas, especially, you know, us in the industry that live in Los Angeles. It was almost like, this is how it is.
Yeah.
So why say anything? And I'm glad that we can say things now, and that we feel free to have those discussions and call people out on their stuff. But it wasn't shocking. It was everything that I expected of him. I mean, you know, that's what it is. That's why a lot of girls don't do the comedy grind, because they know that the way that guys are going to talk to them, girls are going to talk to them, the way it's going to be, you know, and it's not the most nurturing environment always. And I'm glad that it's becoming more nurturing and more supportive, because it hasn't always been that way. And
yeah,
it needed to get better for everyone, not just women, for everybody. People, you know, need to just be nicer. And I think that, going back around to what we were discussing before about Joker, like, I think that was the main thing. It's like, we just need to care about each other, because we're all connected in this world, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now this is the easiest time for a woman to be in comedy, because you see Whitney Cummings, Amy Schumer, Nikki Glaser, Eliza Schlesinger. They're all you know, having good careers.
Yeah, and I mean, we've always had some amazing female comedians out there. We've always had amazing comedic female minds. You know, it's just that opportunities are stronger, the opportunities are better, and we're supported in a way that we haven't been supported before, in how we're treated, or what kind of jobs we can actually get, which is just so beautiful. It's really amazing. It's an amazing time, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever run into any chuckle-fuckers?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I don't think it's, you know, it's like, for females, I think it's a little different. You know, it's hard to call them chuckle-fuckers when it comes to females, because it's just another guy at a bar. It's like, hey, except for now you come off of you know, of doing a set. But I definitely have some friends that have been chuckle-fuckers, and I've definitely seen my male comedic friends benefit from such things, for sure.
Yeah.
There's something about people that make you laugh, right? There's something great about that. There's something amazing.
Oh, yeah. I did a whole podcast talking about chuckle-fucking this summer with, do you know Elizabeth Croydon?
No.
She runs an open mic. She runs an open mic somewhere out in L.A. I can't remember the name of the place. I do know she's doing it at some theater there now. That's brand new over there. But we did a whole podcast talking about chuckle-fucking, and she is just so damn hilarious. I mean, she's nuttier. She's nuttier than squirrel turds, but she's hilarious.
I'm sure she has some amazing stories running an open mic. Gosh, right?
Oh, so I got stories of running an open mic. I did that back in 2013 for like 6 weeks or something, and it was great the first night, and then after that, it went downhill once Giants baseball season started, and then, oh my God, that's when the hecklers came.
Oh, hecklers. That's always fun. Not ever. I don't understand. I mean, I understand why they're doing it, but it's just, I don't.
Yeah.
So they're drunk and they're rowdy and they want to tear people down, and it's just so hard. I was talking to my friends the other day at a writing session, like, how do you deal with certain things? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know the right way, because like some of my friends are like, I'm gonna scream at them. And I was like, well, that just eggs them on. And then me, like, I kind of just want to, like, acknowledge them and try to move on and, like, like, okay, well, like, that's enough, you know, like, but just that is not enough either. Like, they'll probably still continue. Like, I don't know what the proper way to deal with that is, because I'm just not going to scream at some guy and get in a fight with them because they're drunk and they want to say something on set, like, during your set. But, like, but I'm probably a pushover then if I don't,
Yeah.
do something, You can't just ignore it. You can't just, like, ignore it, sometimes. But I do know that there's been some extremes, and I don't want to do that. Ever want to go that extreme.
Oh, I'm just glad that a lot of comedy clubs don't allow it no more, because it's about time.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, because for a while it was like the funny part of the culture. Like, and it was almost expected. It was almost encouraged. And like, dude, like, we're up there, like, doing something hard. Like, don't come in there just for the express purpose of just, like, telling us we're not funny. Thanks, or talking it, like, I don't know. I think it's also different for girls, too. Sometimes they'll just be like, oh, change your boobs, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, no, dude, like, when did that work for you? Like, what one instance did they go, oh, okay, and then, like, take off their clothes? Like, when did that happen? I just want to know. What's the percentage of you actually, like, coming through this?
My God, back in April, my mom and I were at the Comedy Store, and she got drunk and she started heckling comedians because she thought we were at an open mic, because she's not used to seeing 15 comedians in one night. So she got drunk. She heckled Bobby Lee. She heckled Bert Kreischer. She heckled Harlan Williams, who was really cool. He came over to us afterwards, and then I saw him in the hallway as I was going to the bathroom. He was like, "Hey, there he is,"
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I guess some of it is fun for the audience to, like, heckle, but there's gonna be a line. There's definitely gonna be a line.
Yeah.
Of, like, a respectful line.
I was so upset, though, that she was heckling Bert Kreischer, because his wife has been on the podcast a couple of times, and she's got a really cool podcast, and I actually tried to go talk to him after his set, but Kirk Fox lured him to the main room.
Yeah, and plus that would be probably kind of awkward.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, that person, I'm sitting next to the person that was heckling me.
Yeah. Someday, though. Someday.
Someday. I did, like, there's some aspect of it, though, like, when people really work the crowd with their set, when they're, like, actually, like, hey, look at that person, blah, 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 kind of thing, which I don't really do in any of my sets, but, it's almost like heckling the crowd, and in that aspect, it's like you open yourself up for, like, a response from that person, especially that you're coming down and pointing out. So I think that's one of the reasons I don't really incorporate it, because I'm like, if I speak to you and I go, hey, look at this person with the blah blah blah, then it's like, well, they can say something back to me, and they can they have every right in that aspect to heckle back. Because I've just like got off stage and looked into the audience and heckled them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I get really mean when I heckle, I'll tell you.
Really?
Yeah, I can be. People are surprised because I'm such a nice guy and stuff, but I can get really mean and stuff. I do this one run that I do if some guy is heckling me. I do this thing about where I talk about how small his dick is, right? I'm like, this guy's dick is so small, if he dropped his pants right now, the whole room would yell, "Ollie, Ollie, oxen free."
I don't think I've ever heckled anybody back or heckled somebody on stage either.
Oh, you got to.
I guess I have to have that experience in my life. I just haven't. I definitely made fun of people in real life. Like if they've real life made me feel bad, and they're I've definitely done that. I definitely as a kid used humor to, if I was bullied or somebody said something mean to me or something to really pull them down, which I guess is kind of a dickish thing to do too. My defense, my comedy defense.
Yeah. So, are you dating anybody?
I was looking at all the dating apps and stuff like that, and it's just. It's a new kind of weird culture that I'm trying to get used to. That's for sure.
Wow. Yeah, I need to. I tell you something. I don't want to do the dating sites or any of those apps or anything, because I've met some crazy ones in my life though. But I was lucky for a while. I was actually fucking my cashier at the supermarket for a while.
Did that give you any benefits besides that?
Oh yeah.
Probably not. Did it?
Yeah, I mean, she's been there for a year and a half now, and she's 51. And back in April, after we had been flirting and smiling at each other for half a year, one night, it was the night before Easter, and I was in a really good mood. And I went up to her and I said, "Are you easily offended?" And she was like, "No." And I said, what was the joke? Oh, yeah. "Why does the Easter Bunny hide his eggs?" And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Because he doesn't want anyone to know how tiny his dick is." And she laughed out loud and said, "I have to tell that one to my mother. She's 80. She loves dirty jokes."
Oh, it's good that she has a sense of humor. I like that.
Yeah. So we went out the next week, and then we started kind of a friends with benefits situation for a while, and it got to a point where I would go over there when it was her break and stuff, and we'd go in her car and make out, and I'd finger bang her and stuff like that, and then after a while, we kind of drifted apart and stuff. I think she's got somebody else, but we still see each other and we're still friendly, But I did get to meet her mother once. And
was her mother very entertaining?
Oh, very. Oh God, she's a character. And she just said she just said the whole day, "Come on, Tommy, tell me more of those dirty jokes."
Oh, she liked comedy. She needed to get out and go to the comedy club.
Yeah, so I had to tell her every dirty joke I knew until I couldn't think anymore.
Amazing. I love it.
It's speaking. When I finally do come out to LA, Anastasia, you any of your single girlfriends, send them my way and let them know that I'm the finger bang master.
Okay, I'll lead with that.
Yes, I'm like the little boy from The Shining. I have a great talent, and I'm aware of how great it is.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Oh yeah, I mean, the dating out here is just an interesting little. It's an interesting game. I don't know, and it's just another whole area of focus that takes so much time. So,
well, you always got the chuckle-fucking.
That's true. I can always just fall back on whoever just is like hanging out as soon as I get off stage. Like, fine. We'll see. If the dating apps don't work, maybe there should be a dating app that is especially for comedians. Especially to mess them up with chuckle-fuckers. What kind of comedy do you like? What kind of jokes are too far? Do you heckle? Like all these things in your profile, so you know.
So tell me, you've been doing a lot of panel hosting lately.
Yeah. I mean, my podcasts have been blessed with going live at a lot of conventions, like San Diego Comic-Con. This weekend we did LA Comic-Con, and it's been a really good, fun time. And then, we get to do it live. We get to incorporate the audience, and they get to, be part of our podcast, and which is fun, then, they're part of the podcast forever, which is awesome. And we give away the silliest prizes at some of them, and it's just really a lot of fun. And this weekend at LA Comic-Con was so fun, and we had such good, amazing talks with the audience and with each other, and I thought it was a really fun weekend. It was exhausting, but it was a really fun weekend.
Yeah, I told you last year that I wanted to get behind the scenes this year at conventions. I was all lined up to do it, and then my mom got hurt. But now that we're going through her recovery process, we're talking about it for next year. I'm thinking about, if I can't get a table, where I pass out flyers to promote the podcast and stuff, then maybe I can, host a panel where I talk about how to start an iPhone podcast in your bedroom, like what I'm doing,
Yeah, I mean, that's the greatest thing about, and I always tell this to people, how do you when people are like, how do you start doing panels, and how do you start doing this? And I was just like, years ago when I was doing Awkward Conversations and podcasts were semi-popular, not quite popular like they are now, and not everyone and their mom had one. I just asked. I had no idea how to do anything. I would email conventions that I wanted to go to and go, what's your process for having us there? Or what's your process for getting a press pass? Or what's your process for a panel submission? And to this day still, if there's a place I think I want to be at, I just email and ask. And I know that you do the same thing with guests, because you never know. All you have to do is be kind and not too, desperate or whatever, and just seem professional, seem, like you kind of know what you're doing, and email and ask,
Yeah.
I mean, all they can say is no, and most of the time they don't, to be honest. Most of the time they're looking for new ideas and new people to incorporate into these events, and you just ask. And it's always been great. I always will be very thankful that for the first few cons that, allowed me and my podcast Awkward Conversations to come and do panels. It really opened up a lot of, connections and friendships for me that have been years and years now,
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been to the San Diego Comic-Con, but I'm a little scared too because I know how huge it is and I hear stories all the time.
Oh, it is it's a lot. I won't lie about that. It's a massive level like nobody can quite describe to you. But that being said, you know, like you can manage it. You just have to manage your priorities. You know, oftentimes people will be like, "Oh, you're going to Comic-Con. Can you do this? Can you do that? Are you going to go to this? Are you going to do that?" And it's just like you have to figure out what your priorities are. For me, my priorities are to give a good show for my panel, to hang out with some of my friends, and maybe to walk the floor once or twice. I don't wait in line for like exclusives. I don't want to do like, you know, like I don't need to do every single thing. But if your thing is like doing every single exhibit or experience, dude, you're gonna be in line. You got to plan it out. You got to like just like figure out the process and be ready to wait in lines and figure it out.
Yeah.
And as long as you're prepared for that, you can have an amazing time. But there's a lot of people there, and you just have to figure out what because you can't go to it all. I promise you can't. Like as much as you want to go to every single thing, it's not possible, you know.
Yeah. There's a Comic-Con I'm going to on Sunday in Santa Rosa, and the guy who organizes it has 4 in the Bay Area and 2 in Sacramento, which is a little more closer to me. And I'm going to see if I can chat with him and, you know, talk about, you know, the cons for next year and stuff and get involved that way.
Oh, definitely. Like, I mean, you know, we started, like, when I was with our conversation, we started with a very, like, a smaller con that's not even there anymore, which is very sad because it was a really good con. It was called BetCon, and it was an LGBTQ con, and it was our local kind of, like, you know, close to us, like, in the Valley, and they really took us under the wings. And it was so nice to start off at like a smaller con where people actually care and like aren't stressed and
Yeah.
Nice. It's nice. The smaller cons are real fun. They're real nice, you know.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go for it next year because I'm tired of going to conventions as a fan and being, you know, I get treated like shit by handlers of like guests of mine that I want to go say hi to, or sometimes I have a guest that like doesn't remember me because he or she does so many interviews.
Yeah, I mean it happens. Like, and I'm sure they're flustered because they're working all day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
even though we're Facebook friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you though, like just being like working all day, plus just being flustered and walking around a con. There's sometimes that, you know, I'll say hi to people and then people will be like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, I know them. I just don't know. I'm tired. You know, like, yeah. I know. I don't know. Maybe. It's exhausting. But you know, it's a good time too at the same time. But yeah. I would never take anything at a con personally.
So
this year at Comic-Con, somebody tried to hug me, and totally good friend of mine and whatever, and I was just so flustered. I was like, I gotta go, and I just like laughed. And they were like texting me later, like, what happened? I was like, I was on the con floor. I think I was gonna have a panic attack. I had to leave. I love you, but God, no, I gotta go.
Well, at least you were nice about it.
I mean, I wasn't nice when I escaped, but I was nice in the follow-up.
So there's a game that I like to play with guests. It's slumber party questions, and how this works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me, and I answer it.
Okay.
Anastasia, are you ticklish?
Yes, I am ticklish. And I don't quite like being tickled. Are you ticklish?
I am baby ticklish, yes, and I love being tickled, mainly because I have mommy issues.
Have you ever seen the movie Tickled?
No, what is it?
Oh, it's this story about people that do it for a living. They get tickled for a living, but it's crazy. You should just watch it.
I'll find it, definitely.
It gets weird in a weird, it just gets weird. You'll see.
What's your favorite part of the body?
My favorite part of the body? That's hard. I think I'm a facial person. I think I like faces. I think I like expressions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I like to see emotion and all that weird stuff. Mm-hmm. What about you? What's your favorite part of the body?
I have always loved the belly button.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. You don't hear that quite often.
Oh, I am obsessed with it, yes. And I contemplate mine every day.
You what?
I contemplate my belly button every day.
What does that mean?
I just watch it, I look at it.
Oh, okay. You just stare at it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. What color are your toenails painted?
Black.
Nice.
What color are your toenails painted?
A couple weeks ago they were purple with sparkles, but right now nothing because fall is hitting.
That is true. That is true.
And is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Is there a stinky smell that makes me gag? I think just rotten anything makes me gag. I don't think there's a specific anything other than that. Just nasty. One time I was at a convention for horror movies, and they had this spray of different smells that they spray through the haunted mazes.
Right.
And my friend was smell this one, and she sprayed it straight in my nose, and it was rotten. And I had to walk around with rotten smell stuck up my nose for the whole day. Ugh. It was horrible.
Farts or feet, I don't like.
Yeah, I'm not a big feet person either, so I guess so.
No, I like feet if they're clean, but if they're dirty, no, I don't.
Yeah, I don't like them either way.
So I got a couple quick, really good jokes for you.
Okay.
Everybody knows the old nursery rhyme. There was an old lady who lived in a shoe. She had so many kids she didn't know what to do. What did her right leg say to her left leg?
What?
Nothing. They never met.
I got the days.
You know the difference between a dick and a Rubik's Cube?
No, what?
The longer you play with it, the harder it gets.
It's true for both, though.
Yeah. Well, Anastasia, thank you so much for coming back on, finally, after almost a year.
I know, I'm so sorry. It's such a crazy ride, but I'm so glad I got to be back on.
Yes, I just cherish all the times that we talk because you're so awesome. I don't say that a whole lot about people in my age group, but you are awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for having me again, and we'll try not to make it so long next time.
Yes. And next time I'm in LA, let's go have lunch or something.
Sounds great.
Okay.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Anastasia Washington. Ain't she a sweetheart? Yes, she is. Like I said, I don't say that a whole lot about people in my age group, but Anastasia is fucking awesome. She is the best. And a funny lady, go see her anywhere that she's performing at. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.